You think this is funny? You need to get that off the pavement right now, or I am calling the police. Do you hear me? That's what I heard, hollered across our cul-de-sac, and I didn't even register at first that they were talking to my 12-year-old. My kid, who was just riding his skateboard in the afternoon sun, probably pretending he was Tony Hawk for the 5th time that week. I was halfway up the driveway, arms loaded down with groceries, when I heard him shout, "Mom!" And just like that, I dropped everything. Apples rolled down the asphalt. A gallon of milk nearly burst. 2 guys in neon vests, HOA patrol, had boxed him in with their golf cart like he was about to make a run for it. The tall one was waving a clipboard like it was a badge, voice all business. Skateboards are prohibited. He's detained until a guardian signs this citation. Detained for rolling 10 feet on a stretch of smooth, empty pavement. My son's lip started trembling. My hands did, too, first from fear, then from something sharper. I marched over, trying not to lose it, and told them to let him go. The short one just smirked. Read your bylaws, ma'am. Safety policy. Also, your trash can lids were left open last Monday. He actually wrote that down on his clipboard, like that was some kind of felony. Neighbors were peeking over fences. Some turning away real fast like this was none of their business. One lady filmed a snippet on her phone, then darted back inside. Didn't want trouble, I guess. I signed a citation just to get my son out of that ridiculous circle they'd made. On the walk back, my boy kept asking me if he'd done something bad. I told him no over and over, but inside I was burning. That night, I sat at the kitchen table, fired up my laptop, and wrote a calm, polite email to the HOA board. I asked what rule allowed 2 grown men to physically detain a kid for a skateboard. I asked why anyone needed to lay hands on my child. I asked for the name of the patrol company and their insurance. I was firm, but I didn't come out swinging, at least not yet. 2 days later, the board wrote back with a single, stone-cold sentence. Our patrol acts under Section 14, recreational equipment, enforced at board discretion. That was it. No apology, no detail. And when they said board discretion, what they really meant was Karen's discretion. Karen, the board president, lived 3 doors down, always smiling like a knife. I printed out flyers, invited neighbors to a meeting about kids' safety. Only 2 families showed up. The rest? They texted me in private. We support you, but we can't get involved. Someone whispered that Karen actually fined people for having unkempt roses. Someone else swore she once measured a bird feeder with a ruler. The board just ignored my follow-up. I tried to move on, tried to let it go, but every time my son glanced at his skateboard, he flinched. And that wasn't going to be the end of it. So I made a plan. Not loud, not messy, just legal. First, I sat down and read those HOA bylaws like I was binge reading a thriller. Section 14, banned recreational equipment. Okay, sure, fine. But Section 6? That one required all HOA agents and contractors to carry visible ID, get permission to enter private driveways, and, here's the kicker, obey state law. So I started looking up state statutes. Private security can't detain a minor unless there's an actual crime. They need a state license to act as security. Our so-called patrol? They looked like 2 dads playing mall cop with a golf cart and a sticker slapped on the side. Next, I filed a public records request, asked the sheriff's office for all incident logs in our area. Turns out, these 2 had actually called deputies on kids before for chalk art on the sidewalk. I printed everything. Then I did something quiet. Booked a free safety check with the county. Noise levels, sign placements, vehicle licensing. Invited the inspector for 4 p.m. on a Saturday, right when Karen liked to parade her patrol around like they own the block. That afternoon, I knelt down by my son. You did nothing wrong, I told him. Stay on our driveway. I'll be right here. He rolled forward, soft and slow, not a care in the world, except he did care because his eyes flicked back to me every second. And wouldn't you know it, the golf cart came buzzing over like a mosquito on a mission. Tall vest jumped out, face all stern. That's a violation. He started to reach for my kid again, and this time I had my phone up. Don't touch him, I said, as calm as I could muster. That's when the county inspector strolled up behind them. Bright orange jacket, decibel meter, clipboard ready. Timing couldn't have been better. Just as he's about to say something, a sheriff's cruiser slides in, silent, like a shark in shallow water. I hadn't called 911. I'd emailed the paperwork earlier, asking for a welfare check if patrol ever touched minors again. The deputy who stepped out looked like he'd seen all this before. Square jaw, tired eyes, calm voice. Karen stormed over from her porch, little dog yapping, voice even louder than before. "Officer, they're enforcing our rules. This child is a menace." She actually gestured at my son like he was a stick of dynamite. The deputy just looked at my stack of papers, then at the two neon wonders. "IDs," he said. They handed over these laminated cards. No state license number in sight. The inspector frowned, poked at the golf cart's VIN, shook his head. "This vehicle's not street legal on public or shared roadways. No slow-moving vehicle triangle. No insurance proof." He clicked his pen, made a note. The deputy turned a tall vest. "Sir, you cannot detain a minor unless a crime has been committed in your presence. State law." Step back. Neighbors started drifting out of their houses, phones up, ready for the show. You could feel it, the air shifting, the whole block buzzing, that soft hum of gossip turning into wind. My son stood right by my side, big eyes, chin up. The deputy asked me to walk him through what happened last week. My voice was shaky at first, then it got steady. I showed him an email where the board said it was at their discretion. He raised an eyebrow, smirked just a bit. "Discretion doesn't override state law." Karen snapped. "What about the skateboard?" Section 14. She tried to step toward my son. The deputy just lifted a hand. "Ma'am, please stand back." The inspector measured the patrol's flashing light bar. Unauthorized. Too bright for non-emergency use. He almost smiled. Then, out of nowhere, the twist. The deputy recognized tall vest. "Aren't you the same guy who called us last month about sidewalk chalk?" The guy turned beet red. The deputy started writing tickets. Operating an unlicensed vehicle on shared roadway, improper identification while acting as security, interfering with free movement. Turns out, the patrol company was just the tall guy and his cousin. A fancy name, Neighborhood Watch Services LLC, but not much more. The deputy took statements. The inspector wrote a notice to the HOA for enabling unlicensed security and for those fake emergency lights. Karen's voice got higher and higher, trying to argue, but another neighbor started laughing. Someone else clapped. Cell phones were everywhere. Somebody yelled, "How do you like those rules, Karen?" She flushed crimson, grabbed her dog, stomped back to her porch. The deputy checked on my son, asked if he was okay. My boy nodded, small but steady. The deputy looked him in the eye, said, "You're allowed to ride on your driveway and along the curb as long as you watch for cars, and no one touches you." Got it. My son grinned for the first time all week. And just like that, something in the air snapped back into place. By Monday, the HOA sent out a totally different kind of email. Effective immediately, patrol services were suspended pending review. By Wednesday, Karen resigned as board president for personal reasons. Word spread that she got fined by the county for misusing lights, for hiring unlicensed security. The neon patrol? Gone. The golf cart, stripped of its fake light bar, sat on a trailer looking like a plucked chicken. Now the cul-de-sac is alive again. Kids are drawing chalk galaxies on the pavement. Teens are out with skateboards. Parents wave when they see me. Sometimes when I walk by, people lean in and whisper, "Thank you." And they mean it. My son rides again, knees bent, hair flying behind him, laughing like he never doubted himself. Sometimes, sure, I still feel a little bit of that old anger, but mostly I feel peace. The rules didn't protect us. The law did. And when the law showed up, all those rules folded like wet paper. I actually kept that skateboard citation, framed it on the wall, not to remember the fear, but to remember the flip. They tried to detain my kid. The sheriff ticketed them all. Balance restored. So, you tell me, did she get what she deserved? Was justice really served? Or is there always another Karen waiting in the wings? Drop your answer below. And if you've got your own HOA horror story, or a moment where the law finally stood up for you, let's hear it. Your turn.